All right, guys, here we go.
Do it.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. This is the Data 360 Labs weekly call featuring Jungle Disk. And for those of you who don't know, I'll go over Data 360 Labs just really quickly. Then we'll give Jungle Disk their airtime. Let's see. Make sure we don't go into Infinium here. Okay. So for those of you who are new to Data 360 Labs, Data 360 Labs is an online incubator for startups, companies, and departments with under $10 million in revenue. And we focus on helping you make money, creating apps, online stores, tech-enabled projects. And if you have a specific custom tech enablement project or software development, we're here to help and lower your costs. So we have a couple different components for Data 360 Labs. We have a recruiting function where we can recruit nearly from a pool of nearly 30,000 global pre-screened and proven experts. We automate your workflow. We handle all of the build information. And then we also help you go through the entire concept of your project or your company from ideation to validation. And then when it comes to scaling and establishing your company, we provide introductions to accelerators, funders, partners, corporate entities to be able to help you enter the marketplace in a healthy and sustainable way. So for those of you who have been members of Data 360 Labs, we're going into the committing phase where we're kind of getting finalized with the ideating and the conceptualizing or the concepting. And now we're getting into the committing. So if you have any questions as we move into our template for the committing phase, which is the business model canvas, please email support@data360.solutions. Today, we're featuring one of our newer partners, Jungle Disk, that helps companies, small businesses with their backup solutions and migrating to the cloud. And so, with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Kyle and George to discuss their offer. So, take it away, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction. Like Marie mentioned, my name is George Rodriguez. I'm the solutions engineer here at Jungle Disk.
And I'm Kyle. I'm the operations and strategy analyst, and we're incredibly excited to be here sharing some of this with Bill.
Yeah. So today's focus, we wanted to talk about something that a lot of smaller organizations struggle with, which is trying to see if they're either cloud ready or how to even transition to the cloud, because it's something that it's a term they've either heard and they're not familiar with, or they just don't know where to get started. And I've seen that a lot being a solutions engineer, helping customers figure out what products to use, so on and so forth. So just a little bit about Jungle Disk. I'm going to go ahead and present my screen to you real quick. Flip the window. All right. All right, so just a little bit about Jungle Disk. We are a data security company. We do focus on cloud backup. We do have a network threat protection, email archiving. We are also Google G Suite resellers, as well as Office 365 for those customers that want to choose one of those two platforms. We also have a password management solution as well. So the main purpose or the main idea about Jungle Disk is to kind of get customers or give customers a one-stop shop for their security solutions.
So basically, we are a company with a startup feel, which means that we have human beings that can help your business transition to the cloud. I know that can be scary, intimidating, daunting for a lot of people. So basically, we are here to help you transition to the cloud, make that transition as seamless as possible, and ensure that you never have any sort of issues with your data. And we're going to kind of go over both what it means to be transitioning to the cloud, to be in the cloud, why you should be in the cloud, and how we can help you out as Jungle Disk.
Right. And just a little bit more history on our company. Jungle Disk was founded in 2006. And then 2 years after that, in 2008, Rackspace, if you're familiar with Rackspace, they're cloud host or server hosting, cloud hosting company. Rackspace acquired Jungle Disk, and we were a part of that company for a long time. And then they wanted to streamline their vision, so Jungle Disk ended up branching back out and going private back in 2016, and we've been doing that ever since. Now, the bulk of our business at that time back in January 2016 was just the data backups, and that's when we wanted to expand our horizon and help out customers even more that were either needing to meet these requirements or having or struggling finding solutions. And we wanted to give them that one-stop shop on as far as all the stuff that we kind of mentioned earlier. So now that's who we are. I'm also a Google deployment specialist as well. So I help customers transition over to Google, the Google product that want to have that professional email with full control over the data and things like that. So yeah, I'd love to have those conversations with you. But again, today's topic, we did want to talk about getting ready for the cloud, right? So in order to do so, we wanted to ask a couple questions first, right? And the first one is pretty much, who do you call when you have a fire? Like you at your home or your business, who's a typical person you would call?
Firefighters.
Firefighters, right? So you call the firefighters. We have some here locally right now, but some of them actually went to go help out California because of all those wildfires that are going on. But yes, you would call the fire department. Same thing if someone broke into your house, you
Call the police.
Call the police, right? So I mentioned that because we do have those services in place to handle those types of situations. But what happens if someone breaks into your business and steals your computers, right? Or the computers that you have that house all your data? What happens if all that stuff just burns down to the ground? Like, I hope it doesn't happen, but what if it did? Who
would you call?
Who do you call? Right? That's the $1 million question in these instances. And that's where Jungle Disk can kind of help. And that's also one of the benefits of moving to the cloud.
I mean, so as George just kind of touched upon, there's countless amounts of things that can happen to your business, from human error, such as someone coming in to the office one day with a thumb drive, plug it into their computer, unknowingly uploading a virus to your entire network, to like the fires in California. Thousands of businesses have burned down. If they don't have their files backed up, in addition to having to restore all of their hardware and their office space, now they've lost all of their software, all of their files, everything they need to run their business, they no longer have. So this is incredibly devastating to companies. According to a couple studies, just for one day of your software being down, it can cost a small business $80,000. And additionally, most 25% of companies who've experienced downtime or some sort of data loss have never been able to come back from that. They've had to shut their doors from good. So it's incredibly important that you have some sort of software that can prevent this from happening at your business.
Right. And this is where, maybe having a backup solution in place is, maybe just the backup solution is a remedy for that. Or maybe moving everything to the cloud so that way you have nothing physical on site, and everything is accessed through the cloud. All right. Okay. So I typically ask customers, or when we're doing this presentation, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how upset would you be, or how sad would you be rather, if all your data on your computers were gone? Typical response, I'll get the full 10, right? Some people have even told me, I'd scale 1 to 10, I'd be, 15, sad. Just because, that's the bulk of the business. And like these stats that we found, that's a super high percentage. That's 1 in every 4 businesses that never open their doors again just because of this data loss, right? So what is the cloud though?
The cloud is basically uploading all of your data, everything you have, into a safe, secure location on the internet. So it's no longer only on your personal computer. You have it up in the cloud, so it's not just local, which has a number of benefits, which we'll get into in a second. But essentially, it's stored on the internet instead of just on your computer, any data you have.
Correct. Yeah. And, just like this picture illustrates, you can have a laptop, you can have a desktop, smartphone, tablet. That's just saying how easily accessible it is to that spot in the internet on where to find your data, right? Now, some of you are even using the cloud already. You don't even know it, right? Or maybe you do know it and you're a little familiar with it. Things like Dropbox, right? That's super popular out there. A lot of people use that. Google Drive. I'm a huge fan of Google Drive. I know Marie's as well. We also have Microsoft OneDrive, iCloud. If you're an iPhone user, iCloud is considered a cloud platform, right? And all that means is, like if you're familiar with these services, you can just go to the website or URL or even download their desktop application if there is one. And then you can connect to all your files that you have that way, right? So that's the definition. It says right on this slide, it's software and services, because it doesn't have to just be, files. It can actually be software and other types of services that operate on the internet rather than locally on your computer or in-house server. So a lot of companies out there will be like, I need to have that in-house server. I want control and access to all my data. Well, the truth is you can still do that, but using the cloud, so that you can purchase virtual servers and manage all that stuff on your own. But again, it's in that safe second location. And there, like Kyle said, there's huge benefits to it of moving to the cloud. And here are a few of them. Do want to go into a little detail on them.
These benefits are pretty much, I think the biggest benefit is you can access your files from anywhere, right? So you don't have to carry around your computer, your specific computer, which can, if it gets stolen, if you lose it, if something happens to it and you don't have your files, if you can't access your files from anywhere except your local computer, that makes you incredibly vulnerable. George just the other day had an example where he was able to utilize the cloud.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So actually, it was when I met Marie. We were at the Los Angeles Small Business Expo. And on our way to the expo, I failed to put my laptop in my bag to take with me, right? So, and I had this presentation in the cloud, but, so I didn't really need my computer. So I wasn't stressed out about it or anything like that. My colleague, Mandy, she had her computer. She let me spin it up. I just logged in and like nothing, same presentations there. I had access to it and everything. So, here are a couple of examples of how you can how it's beneficial to move to the cloud, such as lower cost, enhanced reliability, seamless integration, universal access, reduced maintenance, and increased security. So to kind of give a little bit more example on, I kind of talked about the access, reliability, and integration with forgetting my laptop. I had easy access to it. It's super reliable, and it can integrate with almost anything. A good example of lower cost and less maintenance, that I usually like to do the example of purchasing a car or leasing a car, right? So if you drive, you've got a vehicle. Did you buy that vehicle upfront, all in cash? Brand new 2018, what'd you get? You got a Ford Raptor, right, Kyle? No? So yeah, you get a brand new Ford F-150, 2018, you're gonna go in and buy it all in cash, right? Some people, yeah, maybe that's what they wanna do. Some people are like, well, I don't want to put all that up front. I'd rather do the monthly payments or even lease it to where I don't have to worry about the maintenance or anything like that. So that's a good way to look at the cloud. It's not purchasing that in-house server that you have to manage and then you own and you have to take care of everything, right? The cloud is kind of like the lease version of the vehicle purchasing option. So you can operate in the cloud. Any patch updates that gets done on the company's end of who's managing your servers. or, you know, if it's something like OneDrive or Google Drive, things like that, that's automatic. It happens. You're always up to date. You don't have to worry about it. Again, because if you purchase that server and you have it in-house and you're using that as your Exchange mail server, and, you know, it's your, maybe you're using it at, as your file storage system, things like that, you got to be careful with it, because that's the source of everything. So if that server ever got attacked by viruses or malware or anything like that, then, you know, you're putting it at risk, since that's where everything is housed. So you want to be real careful with that. And with the cloud, you don't have to worry about that. So that's the beauty of it, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So going into a little bit more on how I talked about here as far as you know, increased security. So on this tab, this slide, we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit more about that.
I mean, yeah, we just went over like some of the extreme benefits that the cloud offers. But the foremost question we see is, can I trust the cloud? Like, if I put all my stuff up in the cloud, how do I know it's safe? And this is really where Jungle Disk can come in, because as we can help you transition everything you have in your business to the cloud. And we ensure that it's safe through, the first way is through military grade encryption technology. This ensures that no one can see your data. It is encrypted to the same amount of encryption that the military uses. And the only way it can be unencrypted is through a unique password that only you have, which actually is another benefit of utilizing Jungle Disk. We have a password manager that also stores encrypted passwords that only allows you to access your passwords. So while all your data is up there in the cloud, you do need a password to access it. Otherwise, there'd be no safe way to access it. So offering a password manager in addition to that password protected storage just ensures the security of all your data. And then we also have, as George was saying earlier, can integrate our software and your storage with your Google Drive or your Microsoft OneDrive. And this allows for a reliability and a seamless integration so that you always have access to everything you need, no matter what, and you're protected from anything from a fire to a human error to someone drops their laptop in the water, you know, to someone trying to hack into your business. You are between the encryption, the password protection, and the seamless integration, you're always protected.
Yeah. And kind of going more on the encryption piece, you know, if you had your own in-house server, you'd be the one in charge of all that stuff, right? So using something that already has that in place, or using our backups that has that, that's something that you don't even have to worry about, and it's automatic. So a lot of these places are using the AES 256 military grade encryption. That is becoming more of the standard, but that shouldn't scare anyone as far as becoming the standard, because that means it's working, right? So there's a bunch of hackers, if you read up on it, you know, on how E256 encryption works, it's pretty interesting. And it breaks up your data into blocks, and then it encrypts that. And then whatever you're using, like for instance, our backups, it then kind of like just jumbles it up, and then it'll do that multiple times. So that way, when it gets stored onto the cloud, that stuff looks like gibberish to anyone and everyone other than the person that has the key, right? So that's where that second piece of password management comes into place, because a lot of these things, the key is your password. So you want to make sure that that doesn't get out there out in the open. And, you know, it's such a great thing. It's so powerful, but password management is going to be huge in some of these instances when moving to the cloud, right? But it's super interesting. I don't want to go too much into it and nerd out about how the encryption E256 works, but strongly recommend checking it out. You know, it's really good stuff. Other than that, you know, again, having your own servers in-house, you'd be in charge of all this stuff, right? So that's the other point I wanted to make as far as the reliability. So if you did have that in-house server, again, that's where everything is housed. So that's where that's the source of truth, right? So if that server ever became compromised, either maliciously or natural disasters or things like that, that's something that's, you know, you'd probably have to live with, right? But in the case of using the cloud, typically these companies, they use things like geo redundancy. So like if you were to have your stuff, let's say housed on Google Drive, right? You have that accessibility, you can use it anywhere and everywhere. However, you're the only one with the password. Now, just in case, you know, one of the things that they do is they replicate your data from one server to another. Now, this is something that they typically do for free just because they don't want to be at risk of losing all your data. So if that server that they have, you know, all your data on that's encrypted and secure, if that server went down for whatever reason, or if they need to do some maintenance on it, you know, they'll do like switches to other servers to where your data gets pushed over there. Then they'll do the updates that they need, and then so on and so forth. And then another thing is the data centers that house these things. I'm sure Marie can attest to this. You know, the data centers that house all these servers, especially with Google, they have like biometric screenings and like fingerprint, you know, recognition, facial recognitions, and things like that. Security cameras, all that stuff, right? So these are you can be sure that it's like trying to break into Fort Knox type of thing. Plus, they also have, like I said, that redundancy. Maybe just in that location. Maybe it's also in another location, like maybe some of the stuff is housed in the data centers on the West Coast. Then they have a copy of your data that's stored on the East Coast. So that way it's on the other side of the United States, just in case natural disasters, right?
Yeah.
So like,
well, you know, I was gonna add one of the cool things. The reason why we joined Google was not because of like all their fanciness and whatever. It was really because I went to UCLA and I saw Vincent Cerf speak, and Vincent Cerf is one of the fathers of the internet, and he's on Google's team. so that pretty much solved it for me. And he described what his job was like every day. And I happened to subsequently meet or find out about other experts they've hired. And so that basically sold me. It wasn't even so much like the algorithms of the encryption or even the data center. It was the people that actually are the cops for our data on the Google network that sold us on Google's capabilities.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree with you 100%. You know, like that's one of the reasons I love Google. And this isn't just a push on Google, but, you know, I personally like Google a lot. But there are other services, like I mentioned, you know, there's the Dropboxes and the Microsoft OneDrives and other things like that. There's even our network drive capabilities with Jungle Disk, you know, that are similar to that. So, you know, it's just finding the right solution. So those are some of the things that you need to kind of sit down and really think about. You know, what are the applications that you're currently using? How are they being run? You know, are these things that you could just simply put on a virtual machine, you know, and utilize the cloud so you can have that access? You know, a lot of people are transitioning. I'm currently helping out at least 5 customers right now trying to transition to the cloud, you know, moving all their in-house stuff over to the cloud. And for some of these companies, these are bigger companies with terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of data, so it's going to be a process. But, you know, if you're just getting started, you know, that's what this presentation's for. It's for those companies that are just getting started, don't know what the cloud is, don't even know how to get started in the cloud. You know, that's who we wanted to really gauge in this presentation. You know, it's not as scary as it sounds. It's not daunting. It can seem daunting, but it's really not, right? So with that, I usually like to ask, are you ready to make that move to the cloud? And the reason for the question is because we really want people to sit down. We really want companies to sit down and really be like, okay, here's what I use for, you know, processing payments. Here's what I use for my email services. Here's what I use for my data storages, you know, so on and so forth. Really sit down, think about what is it that you have, what are you currently using, and how can you implement that into the cloud, right? So there's so many options, and we love having those conversations with customers. You know, like I said, we've helped them move their email to Google. We've helped them move their email to 365. We've helped migrate from in-house servers to using our network drive or Google Drive.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so we, you know, I know this is a scary thing. It can be intimidating making the move to the cloud, but as George was saying, we are specialists in helping you make that transition. So give us a call and we can look at what you're using, see where it could be moved to the cloud, make you safer. And, you know, as Marie said earlier, to plug Jungle Disk a little bit, if you do give us a call and mention this webinar, we can offer you a free onboarding assistance as well as your first billing cycle for free. Just mention the webinar, say George and Kyle, and we'll be able to help you ask the hard questions and figure out what it will really take to get your business as safe as possible so that you're not vulnerable to threats.
Right. And, you know, yeah, thanks for throwing that out there, Kyle. You know, like he said, we love to have these conversations. That's why we're here. So like you saw from our first slide, we have over 25,000 customers worldwide. And, you know, a lot of these customers we tailor to, the majority are medium to small to medium businesses, you know, anywhere from the 2 to 250 employee range. Like that's our sweet spot, because we found that those are the customers that, you know, when faced with technical challenges, you know, they don't maybe have someone that's on staff IT, you know, and they outsource, or they don't know what to do or even where to look, you know. So being protected is something that they don't know how to do, or, you know, so that's where the data security piece comes into play. But again, like helping customers just transition over to the cloud. You know, I've been in the business for a while now. You know, I've helped out many customers migrate emails. I've helped come out with change management. Even I've helped with that. Onboarding sessions with companies. You know, I've done meetings just like this. I've done Google Meets with larger companies to help, you know, show the benefits of Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive. And, you know, depending on the company, I'll use that certain platform. I'm not going to use Google Meet for a 365 shop, but that's another story.
Yeah. And you know, George and Kyle, I'll let you in on a secret why I got so enthusiastic about you guys. I got it right away. What you guys were up to, and part of it is for us, for Data 360, what we notice as a data firm and a firm that uses AI and machine learning, it's so hard to get people to understand why all this cloud-based stuff is working and why it's happening. And often they think AI will just instantly solve all their problems. And we actually have to take time and migrate them to the cloud, either in a small way or a huge way, to help them understand they have to put it all together. And what's great about having a partner like you join our ecosystem is you really can get down into the weeds and all the different pieces that they have. And then we can take what the data they have and take the files that they have and turn them into gold with our AI and machine learning. Right. But we need partners like you that help them do that migration step and get them into the right place and get them in secure and backed up.
Right. And that's the thing, you know, a lot of these companies, they don't even know where to begin. And that's a trend I've typically seen. Like, they don't even know how to get started with just purchasing a domain. No. You know what I mean? So it's just something as easy as purchasing a domain. Some people are probably listening and like, oh, I don't know how to do that either. You know, but we'd love to guide you in the right direction on how to do that. I love talking about DNS changes, you know, when we're going to make these moves. So as far as your website or, you know, email solutions or flow of email from one platform to another, you know, it's all a process, and it varies from company to company, right? So that's one of the things that we don't want to be too specific on, because it really depends on what you want to do and how you guys operate. So that's why, you know, these typically we want to have that conversation, that initial conversation with you to figure out what are your goals and how to transition from there. But yeah, you're spot on, you know, as far as the cloud being probably the way of the future is, you know, it's already here, if you ask me. Yeah. So yeah, so that was our presentation. I don't know if anyone has any questions. I think you have it set up to where they ask questions here, if anyone does. Like in the chat system.
Yeah, we say the future is the present. It's the present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The present is the future. The future is the present. Yeah, we're already there. It's like that, you know, Back to the Future. My son loves Back to the Future.
Yeah. So what we do is we actually create some feedback sessions.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up there a little bit.
Yeah.
It's quiet on our end.
Yeah.
Oh, you're coming in again.
Oh, I have some weird delay. I think I have some kind of weird delay. Can you guys hear me okay?
You're starting to come back in, yeah.
We hear you now.
Oh, okay, got it. Um, so I think I'm back in real time now.
Sounds like it, yes.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, that was really strange.
Yeah.
Or no. Okay. So what I was saying is, we have a Google group, and we have different groups to ask you guys questions, and so we'll
perfect.
engage with our team asynchronously, and with our different groups, and so our goal is to actually set up some sessions for those with projects with Data 360, and actually open up our audience to set up sessions with you guys.
Open up our audience to set up sessions with you guys.
Perfect. That works for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear it doing the weird delay thing.
I did it for a second or two, but it sounds like it's back normal.
Yeah, I think it could be our office with too many people on the internet line.
I think you might be in on your phone and your computer. Would that be possible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it does look like that. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Let's see here. Okay. I'm trying to multitask here.
I think we see you through your phone.
Now you see me through my phone. This is my phone, yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, so we'll put you guys through the Google group. We'll also set you up with some appointments with some of our team members. And for those of you who are watching this video on replay, feel free to reach out to support at Data360.Solutions to set up a time with the Jungle Disk team. Because as we said, we find that it's a critical step for companies to begin to look at how they're managing all their data and managing all their systems. That's how you take advantage of AI, machine learning, IoT, AR, VR. Your data house, your cloud systems have to be in order for that to work well. And so we want to make sure that you have all the tools in place and all the partners that will help you make the transition successfully. So we've been, like I said, we're just ultra impressed. And me as a lead technologist in the company, I'm ultra impressed with what Jungle Disk has to offer. Super elegant. Yeah, super elegant and super easy to understand. And I think these guys do a great job. So I'm happy to endorse them for Data 360 Labs and our company in general, in our network. And I really encourage you to dig in. And so hopefully we'll come up with some promotions and some different things over time with Jungle Disk that will help you guys, because we actually love it when you guys understand how the cloud storage and the security and everything plays into your projects and into audiences, and provide security for investors and your corporate partners, or whoever you happen to be recruiting to pay you money, including your own customers. A lot of times they want to know their data's safe. They want to know that your systems aren't going to get broken into. They want to know all those things. I just had a conversation with one of the actual number one venture capital network in the world. And the number one thing he was talking about was security and data permission. And are you getting permission? And do you have security? And so I was able to easily say, yes, we do have data and we have security, and we manage people's data very carefully. And it's not a free for all like the other social media systems or Google. SEO, where, you know, search engines, where it's just open, you know, kind of anybody can be victimized. So all those things are, you know, required by cloud backup systems and with the support of companies like Jungle Disk.
Yep, and as long as since you mentioned it, you know, meeting those requirements as well. You know, HIPAA compliance for those, you know, medical field, you know, businesses. Also FINRA for banking.
Yeah, or even worse, CDPR, right?
Yeah.
California Data Protection Regulation. So you know, if you have more than 50,000 users, say you're ultra successful in any way, you have to maintain certain standards in order to house people's data, any customer data, any data period that involves a person. And not only that, they can sue you personally if you don't handle it properly. So unlike the European Union with GDPR, where it's the state can fine you, in California, individuals can sue you.
Yeah, yeah, and
so
the GDPR stuff, you know, it's a whole other beast. You know, like some of the things that I don't know if you saw that article as far as you know, some of the things that Microsoft OneDrive specifically is doing. I think I shared that article. You know, they found that it's in violation of the GDPR. So Microsoft is now having to make some changes on the Microsoft OneDrive, but it was only for certain product licenses. I think maybe one was like the Project Plus or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, you know, it just goes to show that even big companies like Microsoft are needing to make some changes and alter some of the ways on how they operate just to meet these requirements. You know, so there's a lot of, you know, smaller organizations that don't even know where to begin or, you know, how to become HIPAA compliant and things like that. So but like you said, it could be super serious, and you know, there's huge ramifications.
And that's not to say that the rules won't change to where they say under 50,000, you have to do it too. I mean, you know, that's the fun thing about being in this data-driven digital universe is, you know, rules and regulations change all the time. You know, Data 360 has its specialty in person-to-person communication. Jungle Disk has its specialty in aggregating data and putting it on the cloud and overall systems management. I mean, there's lots of things you have to keep track of, and that's why it's good to have different partners and have a whole ecosystem. I think people think, well, I'll just set up on MailChimp and I'll start emailing some folks, and then I have a company, and it's sort of like, or I'll buy Square's payment system, and, you know, Square's collecting data on customers, even if you're a liquor store or you're a restaurant and you use Square. You're collecting data, and if you don't store that properly, if you're not securing that, Square doesn't guarantee security for you. So you just never know. You know, there could be pass through on the systems you're using, so you just have to be very careful all the way around. And you know, our goal with Data 360 Labs is to have our teams be successful.
Right.
So success means more responsibility. And that means you have to have some forethought on how to manage your systems. What do you guys commonly see with your clients in terms of what's the typical implementation onboarding kind of look like? Like, say they just kind of have a bunch of stuff everywhere.
Right. So it depends on the services that they want to get through us, right? So the onboarding, if they want to sign up with our backups, and just solely our backups, you know, we can schedule a time on when to get that set up. Typically, you know, our customers will designate a point of contact with the organization as the go-to person. But some organizations just say, you know, have all their employees call us and have it help set up their backups on their computers, you know. So it varies. As far as transitioning other services to the cloud, you know, that's definitely conversations based off, you know, the applications, where do you want it to go? We can guide you in the right direction.
We have such a various product offering, as well as we deal with so many different use cases.
For sure.
That we really take the time to make each customer to take the time to find their unique use cases and how we can serve them best. Because due to our product offering, the nature of the product that we offer, the nature of the different softwares that every company out there uses, We simply can't offer a uniform, here, slap it on, you're good to go. That just can't happen. In one office, you might have people using 20 different types of computers and operating systems. Time to find out what exactly you need, how we can make our service fit for your business and so you can get the most out of your Jungle Disk experience.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very typical to have many different kinds of systems. I wish I could
Exactly.
show. We had a meeting with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power yesterday about their systems integration, and I wish I could show the diagram here today. I need to scan it.
It's crazy.
It was unbelievable. They even have a mainframe still.
Man, I mean, even if you think about, like, he has an Android and I have an iPhone. Those are both different use cases for Jungle Disk, and that we would take the time, even something that simple. If you want to use it on your phone, we would find out even down to that level of what kind of phone to use. We can help you set it up there.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, the coolest thing is, like you said, it's that peace of mind. If your computer's not working, your tablet's working, it's like, the reason why we use Google Meet, right? I just switched, my computer goes wonky, or it does because I have too many things running on my light laptop. It's very typical that my computer will go wonky, and then I just switch over to my tablet or switch over to my phone or whatever, and it's like no big deal.
It's a perfect example of cloud-based software, solutions, things like that. So,
yeah, and there was almost no hiccup, right? Like I just joined the meeting on a different device, and so it's that important with your data backup too, and all those great things. Anything else you guys want to add to the equation? I know you guys do QuickBooks backup. I know that I've found that to be super cool.
Yeah. So again, our backups, it's either server level or work group, which is PC or Mac backups, laptop backups essentially. Definitely back up your data. You never know what's going to happen, right? Even if it's cloud-based, you want to back up your data because something can happen to where, like, with Google G Suite, you have an admin that's in charge of everything, right? They have all the users, they create the team drives so that you guys can share content and stuff. Then, I've heard horror stories of where that admin goes rogue, right? And they change the passwords and they delete the team drives and they purge the stuff in the drive. Hopefully that never happens, but it's like insurance, like you never know unless it happens. And we've been in this business for data security. We've seen too many horror stories of where that's already happened, and now they want to start protecting themselves. A lot of, some though are also like, well, I want to prep because I know that this can happen, and I always, hey, congratulations. Not a lot of people think that way. You definitely want to start that from the beginning and develop that process, as far as the backups.
Basically, what we like to leave people with is imagine on your phone right now the photos you have, what your kids, your trips, your dog, whatever, your memories. Imagine if all of a sudden all of that was gone. You'd be quite upset. You'd be really upset, but it wouldn't be devastating. Now imagine if that same thing happened to your business. You couldn't operate anymore. You'd be dead in the water.
Right.
So with Jungle Disk, we ensure that doesn't happen, and it's really it's somewhat irresponsible to be not backing up your data. You're really setting yourself up to be in trouble.
Yeah, even if you're a nonprofit organization, and we know it's kind of tough. We do a lot of business with nonprofits as well because they have all that data, and they need to have that backed up because of some of the information, depending on what the nonprofit is. They need to have that because it can ruin them. If they lost all that stuff. So again, the backups. We have the email archiving solution using Worm technology, the QuickBooks Online backup. And there's not many companies out there that can even do that, So we have the ability to do that with our product called SafetyNet. So it's a one-stop shop security suite.
Give us a call.
For customers.
First billing cycle, no call, free onboarding assistance, Jungle Disk. We can help you out. One-stop shop, baby.
That's right, Kyle. I love it. So thank you guys so much for joining us and sharing your perspective. Are there any questions out there? I know Eric is sitting out there. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, no, it was really great, guys. Really informative.
That's great. So we're excited, like I said, to kind of proliferate Jungle Disc out there because it's really we're being completely selfish. It's really in our interest to get our customers aggregated in a safe backup system. So we're excited to work with you guys further. And we'll be publishing this online for those of you who are looking for the replay. It'll be in the usual spots all over the internet. And we'll also, like I said, do some engagement. I know Jungle Disc will be anxious to share some specials and opportunities with you, including the 30 days free, and mentioning George and Kyle. Yeah, they'll come and party with you. I can attest to that. They will do it. And so we're really excited to hang out with these guys from Texas. And thank you guys so much for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having us. It was a blast.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. So thanks, everyone, for joining us with the Data 360 Labs session for Friday. I think next week we'll probably have the time off. We might have a session, but we'll probably have the time off for Thanksgiving weekend so you can enjoy Black Friday. And we'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh man.